I don't think he went about it the right way. And I can't say how it is to live from day one, from the day that you come out with HIV, because I know what it's like to live with HIV from 22. I can't imagine going through elementary school, high school, my first few years of college already having HIV. You know what I mean? That had to be tough. And I'm not discrediting that piece of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm discrediting the fact that he didn't disclose his status before engaging in unprotected sex. If you're scared to tell, don't have sex. You know what I mean? Like, don't engage in these activities if you cannot disclose your status. Because essentially, it could come back to you tenfold. If you come across the wrong person, that's going to take it to the police or whatever, like, that's it. I mean, it's not okay in society. It's not legal, to just expose people to HIV and just live. Like, you can't do that.
Do you think that he exposed other people and infected other people?
I absolutely do. Yes.
How does that make you feel?
It's why I do what I do right now, because I can't control his behavior and I can't control what he does or doesn't do. And when I tried to go to the police, and things like that, people didn't take me seriously. It wasn't taken seriously. Not like it is now, and it's just like, I wish, back then that they would have taken me seriously, because now there's probably other people, that are going through exactly what I went through. And I feel like, I could have stopped that, some years ago, but I really didn't have the chance. I really didn't have the chance to. It's like the one thing that people ask me all the time is why I didn't put him in jail. And when you're 22 and you test positive for HIV and you're with somebody and you feel like nobody else in the world is going to be with you, your first thought is not going to be to put that person in jail. It's not. I mean, people can say it till they're blue in the face. I would put him under. I would have done this. I would have hurt him, things like that. But really, when you're sitting on that hospital bed and that doctor tells you that you have HIV, your first thought is not going to be, I'm going to kill him. It's not. I promise you. You know what I mean? It's going to be a plethora of things that you're going to think about, and probably the first thing is where it came from, because nobody is excluded. You know what I mean? Married, not married. Just because you're faithful doesn't mean your partner is faithful. That was my situation. You know what I'm saying? So, he was wrong. And to this day, he has not apologized. And I think that if I got the apology that I think I deserve, that I would have more closure to my situation. Me advocating brings closure to my situation, because I didn't get that apology. I didn't get that, I'm so sorry that I flipped your whole life upside down at 22, and now I'm 30. So it's like, do I look for an apology still to this day? No, I'll never get it. But I don't want anybody to, go through that. If I can help it, I just want people to know and understand that it's not going to miss you for any reason at all. You have to take it upon yourself to be responsible.
Where is he now? Where is he now? What happened to him?
I'm not very sure. We don't really talk, at all. We still talked for a while, after the fact. But I have no idea. I don't know what he's up to, what he's doing, where he lives, anything like that. I just try to focus on what I want to do and where I want to go, with all of this. And I think that if he would have taken the steps that I took, that it would be a lot easier, on him. But, you can't make anybody do anything that they don't want to do. And like I said, I don't know what it's like to be born with HIV. And I know that has to be challenging, like very challenging, going through school and dating and things like that, at such a young age, and having to tell somebody that you have HIV, but I don't think that it's fair that you put that on somebody else now, because you knew how that felt, and now you put somebody else in that same exact position.
So what he did was so horrific and horrible for not just letting you know. Do you feel that he's a bad person for this, knowing the person that he is and knowing, I guess, his circumstance and being born with it? Do you think it was destruction, trying to destroy? What do you think about this?
I wouldn't say he's a bad person. I wouldn't say that. I understand him being embarrassed, but I don't understand how he could sleep and live with me and not trust me enough to tell me, or even, just, he could have just kept himself from me. I would have been okay with that. You know what I mean? I would have been okay with his family members saying, hey, you guys shouldn't be having unprotected sex, by the way. Like, can't really tell you why, but, just be careful. Something like that. Something. Anything. Nobody said anything. I hung around him. I hung around his family. Everybody knew, and there was no, I highly doubt they were under the impression that he told me, I don't know. It could be. But, no, I don't think he's a bad person. I just think that he didn't have an option. He was born with it, and I think that he doesn't know how to deal with it. That he never learned how to deal with it. And nobody ever taught him how to deal with it. And so if he's taking his anger and his frustrations out on vulnerable women, then, that's his way of dealing with it, I guess. You know what I mean? But it's not okay, and I just want those vulnerable women to know that there are people out here that are preying on you. There are people out here that are going to hear that, oh, I live in a shelter. Or, oh, I came from this, and they're going to be like, oh, perfect. She needs me. You know what I mean? And, it was sad. A lot of the women that he slept with that actually got a hold of me, that, found out he had HIV, they were vulnerable women. They were in bad situations. So, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to already be at the bottom and for somebody to kick you while you're down. And that's exactly what he was doing, And so I came out to help those that may be in those situations. Like, you should never feel so low that you're settling for so much less than what you deserve. Because if I looked at the situation back then, I settled for so much less. I could have had so much more. And I just didn't.
You said one of the things that drew you in, obviously at a young age, you were impressed by some of the flashier things that he had. Did you ever figure out what he did for a living?
Yes, I did figure that out. He engaged in illegal activities for a living, and I just thought he was getting cash from his sister's catering or waiter or whatever it was, but that wasn't it. And, when I finally got a glimpse, like a real live glimpse of his lifestyle, I was thrilled. It was thrilling because I grew up, I was very well off, and, we never really struggled for anything, and I have never been exposed to drugs, or anything like that. I had never seen like crack or in real life, and these were things that I was seeing, and I was just like, I was loving it, because I was such a good girl growing up, and it was just things that were, I was amused, and I liked it. I liked the lifestyle, but, after some time you grow up and you're like, that was so dumb. That was so dumb. And I could have gotten in so much trouble if somebody ran up in that house, or anything like that. But at the time, you're like, whatever. I'm eating my pizza that I love and drinking my orange pop that I love, that he pays for, and he's going to go out and do whatever he wants to do, and I have what I want. So, it is what it is, but I was young.
It's funny because, being from the suburbs of Chicago, you lived a pretty privileged lifestyle. So it's like there's a piece of you that always wants that action and that suspense and that thrill because you've been sheltered. And that's completely understandable. So he was giving you a little bit of that action that you never got.
he was showing me a side of the world that I had never seen before. And I was just like, wow, this is crazy. Like, this is like a movie, you know? But like I said, I was young, and if I got caught up in that kind of lifestyle today, you know, or that kind of person, I should say, today, like that's how he's making his money, it's not for me. My life in 2018 consists of a husband, Jordan Davis. I have 3 kids, 7, 5, and 4 months. I have a degree in business management. I have a really good job. I'm a buyer, so I work in like supply chain. So it's a growing industry. I got a really good opportunity fresh out of college.
My concerns initially entering into the relationship were, how could I continue a relationship and not contract what you have? How can we continue to live together? The views from my family, I thought about that. The views from my friends, you know, what they would think. Thought about things that, what do I have to do as for myself to stay protected, and what could we do together to, and in a relationship wise, you know, behind. I really didn't have to think long and hard about it. I always wanted to be with Jessica back when we met the first time. I told her don't leave me, but she left me anyway. But now she's here, so that's all that matters. But no, tell you the truth, I didn't have to think long and hard about it. Not to say that I'm a risk taker. I accepted the challenge, and I thought more of, there's people with a lot less. They go through a lot more, as well as there's people with a lot more that go through a lot less. Who am I? The great thing in life is that as long as she's doing what she needs to do, we're both protected. She takes 1 pill a day. I, in return, take 1 preparatory pre-exposure pill every day. 2 reasons I take that. 1 is to protect myself, even though I'm not going to say I don't have to, but as long as her count is low, I won't get infected. But on the other hand, I take the medicine so she's not taking medicine alone. We can both do this together. Every day is, I tend to forget that she has HIV, tell you the truth. I mean, you know, I don't let it be the highlight of my morning or the nightcap of my night, you know. Just something we live with, you know. We have to live in our skin, nobody else. Regardless of whatever you think, you have to move for who you are and do what you're supposed to do in life, and that's all we're gonna do, you know what I mean? As far as somebody else looking in, wanting to know, or somebody else going through what we're going through, you know, be cautious. And all you do, be cautious. Always think before you move. But know that today is better than yesterday. So the technology of 10 years ago is far more advanced now than it was then. So you can do more. So educate yourself, get tested, and just be happy. And take a chance, because you're going to take a chance. Take a chance, walk across the street every day. Take a chance. You'll learn something, and you'll gain some love from a place you never thought you'd get it from.
What message would you give to young women right now, just living the lifestyle, I guess, that you were living before? Not that you were doing anything wrong. I mean, you were in a monogamous relationship with somebody that you loved and you trusted. You were basically playing all the cards right, and you know, life happened. What would you say? What advice would you give to just young girls out there right now?
Be careful. Don't trust everybody. Everything that glitters ain't gold. I mean, you know, they say money makes the world go round, but money got me in a lot of trouble, you know, and I was so stuck on the high life, and I was so stuck on experiencing things and having things that I never had before, that, you know, I didn't really pay attention to the things that like really mattered, like HIV, you know, or any STD, you know, for that matter. You know what I mean? I would say to just get tested. I mean, even if somebody tells you that, oh, I'm good, I don't have HIV, you know, I don't have chlamydia, I don't have anything, you know, like, you can't take anybody's word for it. You know, go together, go get tested. Me and my husband went and got tested together. You know what I mean? My husband does not have HIV. He takes PrEP. So PrEP is one pill once a day as a preventative. So, you know, there's measures that can be taken, and there's people out there that are going to accept the fact that, you know, you have HIV and they don't, you know, and there's people that are going to still want to get to know you and get to learn you and love you just the way that you are. HIV, AIDS, you know, anything. It's out there, you know, and I didn't think it was out there at 22, and I didn't have anybody, you know, to look up to. I didn't have anybody that was okay with being HIV positive at such a young age. I had to look for that, you know. I had to like search. I mean, it was like Magic Johnson, you know, at the time, and it's like, I can't reach out to him. I can't, you know, talk to him personally and get his experiences. And, you know, like, the music industry played a huge role in my life. Like, it still does, you know, especially when I tested positive, because music was like, it was like my therapy. And I remember Monica's album, Still Standing, came out right after I tested positive. If I am correct, it had to be like 2010, because I tested positive at the end of 2009. And till this day, I cannot listen to the album, because it just takes me through so much of these traumatizing, you know, experiences. And she had this Still Standing song, and I just used to play it back to back to back, because I had to keep telling myself that I needed to still stand, you know, that I needed to be this person that was really, really hard to be for my kids, you know. And it was just like, listening to that song was like, okay, you know, I'm gonna get through it. And, you know, it was so much music that was just like motivating me, that was like, okay, like, people, you know, they go through this and they experience this and they make music out of it, you know. Like, I'm no singer, I'm no rapper, you know, but I can make something out of it, you know. I can make something out of this experience.
So talk to me about what it's like living with HIV if you don't have insurance.
Expensive. So the medication I take now is probably about $3,000 a month without medical benefits. I used to take 2 pills back when I was pregnant, because some medications are not proven to be safe during pregnancy. So that was totaling almost $5,000. So without medical benefits, it's so expensive. You know, I've been blessed, you know, to have a good job with good benefits. But, you know, even with a plan, you know, let's say, right, your plan pays 25%. I'm sorry, your plan pays in 75%, and you're only responsible for 25% of your prescription. I mean, 25% of $5,000. You know what I mean? It's a lot of money. So thankfully, they have organizations and resources that will provide assistance with your copays for the drugs that you need.
So talk to me a little bit about some of the myths, and let's just dispel some of the rigmarole that's out there about the virus. Talk to me a little bit about what you encounter as far as people's ignorance.
So you can't get it through sweat or tears or drinking after somebody, sitting on the toilet behind somebody. You know, there was a lot of things like that happened to me over the years, where I remember I was working part-time at a retail store, and I had closed the door in the stall And when I was locking it, I cut my finger. And my store manager at the time, I had told her I had HIV. I mean, at this time, I was already like, whatever. And she like blocked off the bathroom, like nobody could go in there, called maintenance, told them that, you know, by the way. And it's just like, that's unnecessary. Like, I just cut my finger a little bit, you know. When I first tested positive, I had accidentally cut my finger cutting open some bacon. And, you know, a family member of mine is like, are you okay? Can you still cook? Like, you know, do you need this and that? And I'm like, I'm fine. You know, I think that people need to understand that, you know, sex, unprotected sex, blood, right? So, like, needles, you know, that's a common way of contracting the virus, and breast milk. So, with all 3 of my kids, I was not able to breastfeed. So, those are the ways that you get HIV. So it's, you know, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard when you're HIV positive because you don't understand that perspective from somebody that doesn't live with HIV. To me, I think it's appalling that people think that you can get HIV from somebody else's sweat, but it makes sense because if you do the research, right? If you Google it, it will say bodily fluids. So there's so many things that you can kind of stick in that category. So I get it, you know, but I feel like that's why I'm here, you know, to tell you that I can't sweat on you and you get HIV, you know, or I can't share a drink with you or you share a drink with me and get HIV. You know, it just doesn't work that way. I think another huge stigma with HIV is that homosexuals are the only ones that have it, or that's where it came from, or anything like that, because that is so far from the truth as well. I think, I mean, probably 50% of the people that I've met that have HIV, heterosexual and homosexual. Half and half. You know, I don't think that it's going to miss you because you're heterosexual. It's not going to happen. You know, it doesn't just happen to a category of people. It doesn't just happen to black people. It doesn't just happen to white people or Hispanics or Asians. You know, it happens to everybody. It doesn't just happen to 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds. Like, it happens to everybody. You know, HIV is actually, the rate is going up in nursing homes. You know what I mean? So it's like people are out here having unprotected sex regardless of their age, right? Because we have a lot of people that are very young that are having babies these days, you know. So just know and understand that it's not going to miss you because you have $1 million, and it's not going to miss you because you broke, you know, or because you have $1 in your pocket. It doesn't discriminate by race, creed, color, religion, ethnicity, anything. You know, everybody. You know, if you're engaging in these activities that are going to cause you to contract the virus, then there's a chance that you can contract the virus, you know, regardless of your status in society. That doesn't make you, you know, give you this invisible shield, I guess, you know, against HIV. It doesn't work that way. So that's what they call the magnetic couple, because he's negative and I'm positive. So it's like interesting, the terminology that they use.
Interesting.
So when we advocate together, then that's what we kind of use, you know, magnetic. And he advocates with me. I let him come along.
HIV saved my life.
He has to say that.